The Dawdler's Philosophy.
Snippet.
Just a taste.
Did you know that in the entire evolution of morality, truth never appears? All the conceptual elements employed are fictions, all the psychological accepted are falsifications, and all the forms of logic dragged into this realm are lies and sophistries?
Jesus.
Well, Nietzsche knows it.
Apparently, I did not. But I'm learning.
We'll move on from morality.
All right.
Whether or not, we're not in the business today of constructing the arguments, and we can't necessarily say, aha, we have proven that there is no morality, but he just told us the whole thing is bullshit. So what happens if one tries to move past morality? No answer.
Oh, Jesus, I'm like waiting intently to hear. I'm like, what is it, master? I'll be your slave of knowledge. Anyway, go.
So then we've got these moving past morality or whatever, we move from priests to philosophers. Right?
Philosophers.
We got all these philosophers now with their corner food carts and shit. But Nietzsche doesn't like them either. Big surprise. Philosophers are terrible. So what they do is they come in, but they're still under the spell. They're habituated to these moral style evaluations and these deistic yearnings. And so what the philosophers do is come in and just invent new gods and new dogmas and new doctrines with things like capital R reason or capital R real world, and they've got this knowledge and truth. And now, instead of pursuing that which God wants us to do, we're going to pursue the truth.
Nice.
I can just imagine you editing.
I'm like all over the place. I'm like, it might be a bit too much by this point, but whatever.
So that's the new God, right? We've got this stupid big T truth thing that now we're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. That was an okay, just so you know.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah. I've gone through 3 okays at this point. I got one more.
The methods of truth were not invented from motives of truth,
In other words, they're non-epistemic.
but from motives of power. Why know why rather than be deceived? What one always wanted was faith and not truth.
So I think Nietzsche's saying that these people, these philosophers who come in and have a capital T truth and they venerate and they want to get it, again, he's asking that same good old revaluation of value style question. Why know why rather than be deceived? Or try but dry, I mean, he was. I don't know how many of our listeners are under 25 and will be like, what the hell are you talking about?
I know, there's too many of those references. I'm like, oh, Generation X again. I don't want to use another okay.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just digging through I made fucking notes,
Yeah, I know.
And I'm trying to dig through my notes and find what comes next. The philosophers come around, they tell us we want truth. But then there are a few philosophers who are exempt from Nietzsche's scorn, which he calls the skeptics.
Okay.
The crowd cheers. We like them.
This is going to be one of those episodes where, like, when the undergrad does their first PowerPoint and it's just got all these whiz bangs, I'm just going to be, like, feeding in all this, like, extra crap. There'll be crowds cheering. There'll be elevator music. There'll be, rim shots. It'll be great.
You're going to need to fill all this silence that I keep making. So, all right. Well, what is his diagnosis? Or, he has, it's not a good definition of truth because it's obviously an insult.
Oh.
But in one point, he does ask the question directly, what is truth? And he gives us his answer. Nietzsche's answer for what truth is inertia. That hypothesis which gives rise to contentment, or the smallest expenditure of spiritual force. So, I mean, obviously, he's being tongue-in-cheek there, and he's just saying, well, this thing that you guys talk about as truth,
He's being a dick.
that what you think it means is that you have a sentence that accurately reflects the way the world is or whatever. Really, all that is that it's whatever sounds good to you. It's
Aesthetics.
It's comfortable. It's content. It makes you contented. It's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is the kind of error without which a certain species of life could not live. For Nietzsche, the value for life is what is decisive. But for these priestly epistemologists, they think that truth is so much more, and that it's, again, something to be valued. I want truth. Let's value it. That's a good thing. Pursue it. Seek it. Truth seekers. So, yeah, this is him shitting on the truth seekers.
Yeah.
But he likes the skeptics instead. Nietzsche thinks the measure of unbelief is an expression of an increase in power. He thinks that convictions prove nothing in favor of that of which one is convinced. He thinks that people just have ulterior moral motives that have hitherto obstructed the course of philosophy, so that even these people who think they're doing epistemology, they think they're pursuing the truth, they're just moralists and priests and religious folks under another name. Philosophers have trusted in concepts and words that are an inheritance from ages past in which thinking was very modest and unclear. Philosophers must no longer accept concepts as a gift or merely purify and polish them, but instead make and create them and make them convincing. Argument. But that what they do instead is they just take this inheritance from their remote and foolish ancestors and have a piety toward that which they find inside themselves already, that is just this moral element of truth and knowledge. That they, and this is kind of like the scholar's point from the beginning of the episode, that they take what they get from the past and polish the turd. But it's, what Nietzsche thinks is, what is needed above all is an absolute skepticism toward inherited concepts. And again, I love it. Big fan, favor.
Yep.
Because it's old doesn't mean it's true. One of the mistakes he thinks people make is, and I really like this phrasing, in all ages, one has taken beautiful feelings for arguments, the heaving bosom for the bellows of divinity, convictions for a criterion of truth. This falsehood is counterfeiting and permeates the whole history of philosophy. The skeptics, respectable but rare, accepted. So, cheers to us.
Cheers to... Is that you, like, raising a glass to a picture of Nietzsche on your nightstand? You're like, cheers to us, Nietzsche.